Robbbie knows everything. Tad knows everyone. Dingo is here too. They're here to make love to you. Your ears at least. This is the Dingo Weekly. This is the Dingo Weekly. This is the Dingo Weekly. This is the Dingo Weekly.
Welcome to the Dingo Weekly Podcast. I'm your co-host, Robbbie, with my great friends, Tad and Dingo. And, hey guys, what's up?
Hi. Why do we get demoted to great again?
You're great again. It's fine. You don't have to be best friends every time. You're great this week. It's been a busy week, so now you're great.
You really don't know how best friends work, but whatever. Do your thing.
You're fine. You're
Just do your thing. Just do your thing.
We have a guest today. It's very exciting. We have a guest. His name is Evan Jaquia, and he is the founder of the Solutions Party. And
we already fought in front of him, so great start, Robbbie.
Yeah, right. This is every time. It's fine. Basically, America is just in the shitter right now. Things are in government. Honestly, not just government, everywhere. I mean, government affects everywhere. Things are not great. Things have been better. Things have been so much better. And we need solutions. And Evan made a party to find these solutions. And I want to hear about it. Oh, Evan, hey.
Hey, great to be here, Robbbie, Dingo, and Tad. I'm really honored to be here, and I'm looking forward to a fun, interesting discussion and a vigorous exchange of ideas.
We can promise interesting.
Yeah.
That sounds good to me.
I don't know if we can all provide intelligent exchange of ideas, but we'll do our best. But interesting. We'll definitely get. So, tell me about the Solutions Party. Why'd you start it? What's it about? What are your fundamentals? What are your pillars of this party?
Well, it really. First of all, I want to say I've had the wonderful honor of living around the world. For most of my life, I spent over 15, 20, almost 20 years in Japan, got my master's degree there in Japanese. And then I've been spending many years in South America and spent some time in communist China. And so I've had this opportunity to talk with people around the world and hear a lot of different ideas and hear a lot of the common problems. And so the ideas that are presented at solutionsparty.org, the blog, I would like to take all the credit for them, but actually it's kind of a summary of what I think are some of the best ideas that I've heard. And what is one of the biggest, probably the biggest common problem that not only in our country, but around the world and throughout history that we face. And it comes down to some very, very fundamental things. And probably the most fundamental thing of all is I'm going to start off talking a little bit about the wonderful human brain. The human brain is a great thing, a marvel, but one of its great weaknesses is the ease with which it can form addictions, whether we're talking about addictions to drugs or alcohol or gambling or social media or pornography or junk food. But probably the most addictive thing of all, and I think this is pretty self-evident, is the addiction to power. And that is that when people get power, they don't want to give it up, and they will do, in some cases, anything to keep it. I like to say, well, like Vladimir Putin, he'd probably be a pretty nice guy if he were painting houses outside of Moscow. He'd probably be a fun guy to go out for beer with, talk about how to paint houses. Or Kim Jong-un, the North Korean dictator, were running an Airbnb in Hawaii and surfing every day. He'd probably be a completely different guy than the guy who sends entire families to gruesome prison camps. And Nicolas Maduro in Venezuela would probably not be the ruthless guy he is if he kept driving a bus like he originally was doing for so many years. Turns
these guys probably wouldn't have as interesting stories if they were like working at a car wash or something. So the beer would be kind of boring.
Well, true. I don't know. I bet a house painter in Moscow might have some pretty interesting stories. But you're right. These going out with Vladimir Putin now. Of course, I don't know how interesting that would be. I mean, he'd probably be pretty
I don't know.
tight-lipped.
If he's out there painting the houses and all of someone falls out a window by him, that's pretty exciting.
But how powerful of a painter is he?
Yeah, and well, I mean, let's say he's got a nice little business that paints some of the nicer houses around Moscow and whoever. All the stories about the different people's houses he's painted. I mean, I don't know. At least he would be probably a much nicer guy than he is now. I mean, the sort of guy who kills political opponents, who
That's a
rigs
fair point.
elections.
He kills his
And
competition.
invades.
He's a power painter.
Yeah, right. And maybe if his brother were a dictator, he'd probably be a very rich painter by himself, because he'd get all the big contracts, just like the Hugo Chavez's family in Venezuela. They all get all the big government contracts. But anyway, this addiction to power is something that plagues our politicians too. And the biggest problem is that once people get power, they don't want to give it up. And this is why our politicians, their first priority are their own political careers and staying in office and their partisan interests. And this is why, Congress is such, basically a lapdog to the executive branch, because the scariest word in the politicians' vocabulary is primaried, getting primaried. And they don't want to get primaried because they enjoy the power, they enjoy the perks that come with the power, and they don't want to give it up. And so, if I had to give you guys a very addictive, suppose I'm a doctor and I had to give you guys a very addictive medication, what would be the way to make sure you guys did get addicted to it? Well, I'd give it to you in small portions spread apart. And it's exactly how power has to be allocated. So the fundamental idea behind the Solutions Party is that our problems are not Republicans or Democrats, liberals, conservatives, or illegal immigrants, or whatever. Our problems in the most fundamental level come down to our politicians. And so, the idea is to eliminate reelection, and so that you can only serve one term. And the message is basically this: you get one chance to make your mark in history. There is no reelection. You can't even run for another office while you're serving. So dedicate yourself 100% to your job, and don't do things according to what you think is best, not what you think is going to win re-election. I mean, how many times have you heard a Joe politician is not up for re-election so he can vote his conscience? And you think, well, gosh, shouldn't they always be voting their conscience? Why is it when they're not up to re-election they can actually vote what they think they should, what they actually want to, as opposed to what they have to do to get reelected? So that's the fundamental idea behind it. And then the problems, though, in our country are very are complex and multifaceted, and mutually reinforcing solutions are needed. And so that's what I've tried to do on or present on the solutionsparty.org, is a series of mutually reinforcing solutions that address so many of the weaknesses in our country. The political parties, the tribalization of the political parties, the sorry state of our journalism, the sorry state of our judiciary, a whole bunch of different proposals that are meant to reinforce each other. So, in a long, big nutshell, that's what the Solutions Party is about.
So I'd like to counter. I have two comments on your theory of making it so they can only have power for a limited amount of time with these term limits. So one, how long would a term limit be? Because I feel like sometimes, like a freshman congressperson, they might just be getting their feet wet, trying to understand procedure. It might take them upwards of like a year to really get in there and start making an impact and understanding how everything works. So you're kind of like cutting off a little bit of their ability to do what they need to get done if the term limit isn't long enough for them to actually make an impact. And then you swap them out for a whole new freshman who has to learn what they're doing and get in there. And I'm not saying that there's a whole huge learning curve to saying what your constituents want from you, but I mean, there's a lot of legal parliamentary procedures and all this stuff that, I mean, there's a bit of a learning curve there. You can't just go in there and think that you're going to make a splash on day one.
You're absolutely right. And I think that, if somebody gets elected, that they should maybe take week or a 2 week long seminar to kind of get familiar with the ins and outs and the nuts and bolts of doing their job. But I also think that for the House of Representatives, the term should be extended to 3 years instead of 2. As it is now with the 2-year terms, that they're basically in constant, re-election mode, a constant election mode, and they spend over half their time doing things that are irrelevant to the job, but are relevant to the re-election. Raising money or attending campaign events, and like if you guys hired me as a contractor for a 2-year job, and I spent over half the time just lobbying you guys for an extension on my contract, I don't think you'd be too happy. And that's exactly what we want our representatives to concentrate 100% on their job. There is no re-election, so concentrate in your job. And you can't even run the ideas that you would actually even have a 2-year waiting period between the time your present job ends, your present elected position ends, and the time you can run for another political office. But it can never be the same political office twice, because once you do that, they're going to be trying to orient things for their next election to get back into that same office, and we don't want that. And so,
how do you work your way up the food chain? A lot of times you go kind of like congressperson, senator,
I'm going right
president,
to president,
just straight to president. Yeah. How do people know you? What are you doing? Are it all going to be governors now?
Well, I mean, when it comes down to it, politics should not be about a particular person. Politics should be about ideas. And
you need a good leader, though.
Well, yeah.
Or should we get rid of the executive branch entirely? I mean, it sounds like you're having a lot lot with the single person branch of government.
FBI is listening. Robbbie said get rid of them. I love them all.
The position, not the person.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah, but I mean, that's what the voters will decide, though. One of the ideas is to
too much power
is to have honesty in our elections be paramount. I mean, just for example, right now, our politicians lie left and right to get elected. They lie about what they stand for. They lie, especially what their opponents stand for. And that should be completely unacceptable. If, like, for example, if somebody who's interviewing for a job gets caught lying, the person who's interviewing him has every right to kick them out of the interview. Or if somebody on the job gets caught lying, the employer has every right to fire them. And I think a similar standard has to apply to people who are aspiring to public office or who are serving in public office, just like what happened with George Santos. Because when our politicians are elected officials, in order for a democracy to function, a democracy in the final analysis should be a competition of ideas, an honest and fair competition of ideas. And once it becomes an honest and fair competition of ideas and people get an accurate description of the ideas presented, then they can make intelligent decisions and our society can move forward based on the ideas that people are most convinced by. And this would be far superior, by the way, to what I saw in China, which is basically, one idea is acceptable. One opinion is acceptable. We should be kicking the autocrats' fannies, because our system where you have an honest competition of ideas is much better than when you have a party with a monopoly on the ideas. Just like in the economy, we want healthy competition. We don't want a monopoly. The competition is what makes the better products, what gets the better value to the consumer. And the same thing, we want a competition of ideas where the ideas are presented fairly and honestly and clearly, and then let the voters decide. And then one of the other ideas on solutionsparty.org is to give incentives for people to learn what the different ideas presented are, and to give them incentives to vote accordingly. Because we want one of the big weaknesses, for example, Winston Churchill, he said, the biggest argument against democracy is, a 5-minute discussion with the average voter. And he was saying that, one of the biggest problems in democracy is the voters just oftentimes aren't that well informed. They're voting based on maybe a pet issue, or they're voting based on some attack ad that they heard, but they have very superficial understanding of what's actually being presented, and a lot of times completely distorted because of all the lying that's going on. And so one of the other ideas on solutions.org is to give people incentives to learn the issues that are being, by the way, presented clearly and honestly, to learn the issues and to vote accordingly. And so, it's meant to address the different weaknesses in our democracy right now, because right now we have a minority of people voting, and within that minority, you have people who are voting who don't really have a great understanding of the ideas, or are voting because of just one or two pet issues. Which
how do you fix the apathy? All the people who aren't voting, how do you make them care?
Well, I think that for one thing, if we have rules in place where the politicians are given great incentives to tell the truth, because if they don't tell the truth, if they are caught lying repeatedly, they will be disqualified. So you first of all, give people honest ideas, a choice of honest ideas. And number two, the proposal that is on solutionsparty.org is you actually set up a quiz system where they can take a quiz.
Love taking tests.
Yeah, you take a quiz, but the higher score you get a choice of different, goodies. For example, a higher score, you might get a free pass to National Park from the government, or you might get, corporations like Apple could, give gift cards, and Starbucks give gift cards. So the higher score you get,
we're talking.
Yeah.
now you can get, if you get like a 18 out of 20, let's say, you can choose 5 different gifts from a range of selections.
There's 20 questions. Fuck.
Oh, I'm just giving an example.
So we gotta pay Americans to care about America.
Well, you're giving them incentives. Yeah, you're giving them incentives and getting them. Not everybody's going to need incentives, but a lot of people will respond to incentives. And then also
take the Patriot test. We'll give you a gift card.
Well, if they're getting the stuff, I want the stuff.
I want some stuff.
Yeah.
I'll take the Patriot
stuff.
test. If you're taking the Patriot test, I'll take the Patriot test.
Yeah.
I'll give me $50 to Amazon.
Multiple choice. C.
For example, if you get consistently high scores and you vote, you might get pre-boarding privileges on a flight as a superstar voter. There are a whole bunch of different.
Military.
Shit, there's levels of voters. I want to be a superstar voter.
Everyone loves levels.
Levels.
Yeah. The point is if you give people incentives to vote, and you're presenting them, number one, you're giving them incentives, and number two, you're presenting them in these quizzes. You're presenting them with the ideas. This is what candidate A stands for. This is what candidate B for. Then you do a quiz. Do they actually understand what the different candidates are proposing? And this should be what everybody wants, by the way. The different candidates should want their ideas presented clearly, not being distorted by some stupid attack ad, which, I'm kind of sick and tired of the stupid attack ads that I see on television, and also the complete distortion of what they actually stand for.
Well, also, this doesn't fix the problem of everyone being stupid, because, candidate A can go up there and just be like, I'm going to put grape juice in every water fountain, and people are going to be like, awesome, I want that guy.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, though. That's why we have to have reform our journalism so that people can try. One of the greatest problems in our country is that, if you believe that the pen is mightier than the sword, which I happen to believe, is that the pen.
Yeah, the panda. The panda is mightier than the sword. Kung Fu Panda.
The pen is mightier than the sword.
A new Kung Fu Panda coming out. Sorry.
It's okay. Well, yeah, actually, what's that? Panda Express is not bad. I eat that a lot at the airport. So
I love Panda.
Yeah, see, I'm not racist.
Actually, I'm going to digress a little bit here. I actually am racist. And the reason is
hell yeah, I knew we picked the right guy.
And I'm going to tell you why. Because racing is the best form of sport. You don't have to be like big like in football or tall like in basketball or rich like in polo, and anybody can do it. You can have horse races, you can have people races, you can have dog races, you can even have rat races. So yeah, from that standpoint, I'm a racist.
Okay, but my money's on the black guy.
So anyway, yeah, that's my
Jesus
little
Christ.
joke. But
Not mine. I really would bet on the black guy.
but actually, I've got actually a lot of jokes like that. I can go on if you want, but
We have a duck.
a duck.
It's our
Yeah.
censor. If you say something
okay.
too racy,
Okay.
I mean,
okay.
if
Well,
you're going
I
out
got
like
more
100
jokes.
meter dash, you might have to squeak that.
Well, I got more jokes like that. So anyway, I'm kind of lost my train of thought here, but anyway, okay,
we
yeah, it's
do
about
that.
About journalism. What I really want to emphasize here is that one of the reasons why our country is in such why we have such extreme polarization is because our journalism, a large percentage of our country doesn't trust our news organizations anymore, and so this is ideal for our for wily politicians, because journalism is to politics what policing is to social order. And if you have ineffective policing, then criminals are going to take advantage to act with reckless abandon and impunity. And by the same token, if you don't have robust journalism, politicians will take advantage to lie and do what they have to control the narrative, and there's nobody to hold their feet to the fire. We've got to get our journalism widely trusted again, and so I have made proposals for that. And one of the big proposals is that we actually certify our journalists and our news organizations. And there's ways you could actually
who certifies them? The
Yeah, who
government?
certifies them? That is the big question. Okay, the thing is you could have, just like you have the board certified or the physicians, for example. They don't have to be certified by the government. They could be certified by
A nonprofit.
an independent organization like the Professional Society of the Society of Professional Journalists. And how would they certify them? Okay. The way number one is that if you get a degree in journalism, you'll automatically get a certification. But besides the certification, you have to get a grade. Your grade would be based on how well written are your articles, how neutral are the articles, how well fact checked are your articles, how relevant are your articles, and you could have a Rotten Tomatoes like approach for that. You could have people who would grade multiple evaluators. You could have professional evaluators. You could also have AI. And so you could get a composite score. And so the certification is equivalent to it's like an analogous to a college degree, but the grading would be like what your transcript is. And if you fall below a certain level, you risk losing certification. And so, you don't want to have just one evaluator. You want to have an aggregate score, because based both on humans and AI. And this is especially important now because, for example, Robbbie, suppose some guy makes a deep fake video of you doing something awful.
I said I was sorry, and I'm not going to do it again.
How awful?
Yeah, deep fake video of you with Jeffrey Epstein and dancing with all the girls. Yeah, and so how are you going to know? How are people going to know if it's fake or not? Because they're getting it ever more realistic. And so, the first question will be: was this published on a certified news website, or was it published on Joe Sixpack's World Weekly News? This doesn't. Anybody can start a news site just like they can now, but the question will be: are they certified or not? You can
once
start
it
a
goes
website.
viral, then the news stations are going to start reporting on it and be like, this is out there. I don't know.
Yeah, this is out there, but they're also going to say, if they're a certified news station, they're going to make it very clear that this is not, either it's been proven false or it hasn't been proven true. And so it'll come with a disclaimer. Any certified news site will not publish something. If there's any uncertainty about it, they're going to make it very clear that this is. But whereas a non-certified news site might, the anti-Robbbie website, might just,
Joe's Six-Pack Weekly News.
Yeah, Joe's Sixpack Weekly News. Who hates the Dingo Show and wants to go after Robbbie in particular. It's gonna.
Hey, he took my idea of the I Hate Dingo Show.
So, but what happens when a bunch of the public decides that they don't trust the accrediting body, the certifiers?
Then we re-educate them.
Well, that's
what's happening now. Because we kind of have a system of trustworthy sources, and they're like, well, no, they're biased. Like, no, you're just dumb.
Fake news.
Yeah, right. Like, so, I mean, I appreciate where you're coming from, but like, do not underestimate the level of stupidity of the general American population.
Well, you see, but what have our news stations become? Our major news stations, where we talk about Fox News, or we talk about Newsmax, or we talk about MSNBC. Okay, let's talk about what it used to be. Back in the old days, if you wanted to start a newspaper, it was an incredible investment. You had to invest in getting reporters and getting a printing press and getting a way to distribute the papers and getting an advertising department. If you wanted to start, a radio station, network of radio stations, news or televisions, it was a huge investment. Now anybody with a laptop and a web page can start a news site, and that's what has happened.
Or
is
a
the traditional, or a podcast. So the traditional model of news has broken down. Because news is basically free now. And so how do Fox and these others make money? They make money not by providing news. They make money by providing political infotainment, emotion manipulation in particular. And that's why so many people don't trust our news anymore. Fox News and these others are in the emotion manipulation business. They're not in the news business. They're in the entertainment business. And by the way, the emotions that they stoke are, getting back to addictions, are actually very addictive. Hate and anger and these other very intense emotions are actually very addictive, which is why people keep going back. I mean, the best business to be in is a business where people keep coming back to your product. Well, how much of our economy is based on addictions, whether it's addiction to, all those things I mentioned earlier, whether you're talking about, social media, whether you're talking about gambling, sports gambling, whether you're talking about, alcohol or drugs or junk food. And one of them is the addiction
Check on all of those.
Check.
You forgot pornography. Don't forget pornography.
Pornography.
Never forget pornography.
Never forget.
Or whether we're talking about even these motion manipulating news stations, people just keep coming back because, as one former Fox News host wrote, that basically the first thing they ask themselves in the morning, what's the news stories that will stoke people's emotions most? Because people get a dopamine rush from these sort of emotion stoking stories. And so if a news station is just basically in the emotion manipulating business, which is what so many are now, because that's how they make their money, they won't be certified. Okay. And so, now how do the real news stations make money? Well, what the proposal is here is that we have a national press fund into which the government can put money, corporations can put money, individuals can put money. And if you're a certified journalist or a certified news station, you will get funding from this. And the better your reputation, the more relevant articles and frequency of articles you publish, the more your stipend will increase. And it won't be coming directly from the government. So if you write an anti-government, critical of the government, you don't have to worry about your funding being cut off. But if you think of, as I say, the pen is mightier than the sword, then our journalism should be on the same level as our national defense, because our national defense protects us from enemies abroad, but our journalism protects us from enemies from both within and without. And our journalism has to be thought of as fundamental to the well-being of our country.
Gotta watch the enemy within.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And so that's why, we have to recognize two things. One, the traditional news model doesn't work. And number two, our journalism is absolutely critical to keeping our politicians honest and to keeping the public accurately informed. And right now, nobody believes, you have the Fox News listeners, you have the NSBC listeners, you have the NPR listeners, and there's no common set base of facts that the vast majority of us can agree upon. And if we don't have a common set of facts that we can't agree on, our democracy cannot function. So that's why we have to address our journalism, the sorry state of our journalism, and make our journalism robust again by, first of all, recognizing that the traditional news model doesn't work anymore. So we've got to think of our journalism as an extension of our own a national defense, because it's as I say, it defends us against enemies from both within and without, which is even more important than what our armed forces do, which is, to protect us from enemies from without. And then once you get our journalism trusted again, then, if a politician lies, that will be called out by the certified news station and the journalists. And these, if they consistently lie, they will be disqualified. In fact, you could even put penalties, to really give people, people who are aspiring for elected office, stick to what your ideas are. Don't misrepresent what your opponent stands for. I've been in sales many years, and I can tell you this. The truly great salesperson doesn't need to lie about the product or service they're representing, because they've got the confidence they can talk to the potential customer, and convince them on the merits of the product. But the really good salespeople can also talk respectfully about the competition and make the case why their product is a return on investment. They don't have to trash the competition. The worst salespeople are the ones who will say anything to make the sale. And, if you go to if I go to a sales presentation and the guy is saying that our products are great and their products are a piece of junk, I'll walk out, because I know that the competition doesn't make junk. A truly great salesperson, that's what a politician's politics basically in the final analysis is basically sales. You're selling your idea. And if you're really confident in your idea, you don't need to lie about it. And you don't need to lie about what the other people sell or are presenting or are proposing.
I think we need to dumb it down a little bit more, though. If we're going to be rating these stations or organizations in such a way, I don't think people are going to be looking these up. I think every time someone broadcasts something, they have to have their rating on screen. And then before every news showing, there needs to be some disclaimer saying this is actual news or this is opinion, and
not necessarily. I think that
I think you need to dumb it down for people.
And if you're going to make it boring again, I want gift cards for that too. I'm only watching if I'm getting something out of it.
Yeah,
because I can't listen to Tom Brokaw for an hour.
I think also breaking up these media monopolies is necessary. It's 6 companies pretty much that own 90% of our media. So
and let's look at small town journalism. That's no longer a viable business anymore. Small town newspapers have pretty much gone away. And so people in the rural areas are getting their news from, these big six conglomerates, like you're saying. But if you had this fund where you could actually bring back small town journalists, because small town journalists will get the stipend, and the stipend will increase if they're making relevant articles. Are they making, for example, articles about corruption at City Hall, or are they making articles about, Mrs. Miller's cats had kittens? Obviously they're going to get a lot more. Much.
How many?
Yeah, I mean, they got the nice little variety of kittens there, but but the thing is that you would have
that one.
You would have certified news, and with a grade. Have you ever been to at least in Oregon, where I've spent a good part of my life, outside of the restaurants, they have a grade which talks about how sanitary their conditions are. If you get an A or a B,
how many roaches they have.
Yeah, how many rats. And so it would just be something really simple. This is a certified news site with a grade of A minus or B plus. And if they fall below, say, a C minus, they risk losing their certification. But that's pretty simple. That's pretty. It's don't have to.
What do you do about the people who strictly get all their news directly from Andrew Tate and don't care whether or not he's certified?
Yeah, there are always going to be. Yeah, there are always going to be people like that, and that's fine. There are always going to be people. There are going to be news stations, quote unquote, news stations say proudly not certified, and they're going to be people say, I don't listen to certified news stations.
Certified.
That's they're going to be people. Places like that, or quote unquote news sites like that, we're proudly not certified, and they're going to get people say, I don't listen to it. You're always going to have people like that, but I believe that the vast majority of the people, are going to appreciate getting their news from credible sources. And again, again, I think it's really important as AI becomes more sophisticated. As AI becomes more sophisticated, and you're getting deep fakes of audio and video of people doing things, it's crucial that we have news sites that people can go to. Because, for example, if I see a UFO a video, okay, the first question is that on the New York Times or on some quote unquote credible, or is it on the Weekly World News website? The New York Times, arguably is a lot more credible if they publish an article saying, aliens were spotted over South Dakota than if, Weekly World News does. And so, you guys remember? Maybe you guys are too young to know, but back in the old days when you go shopping at the supermarket, they'd have the Weekly World News newspaper right as you were going out, which would have articles like Satan escapes from hell and all that.
I would only get my news from the National Enquirer.
National Enquirer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's how adults take in news now, as I did as a 6-year-old on the grocery line. They found Bigfoot again? Man, he's getting really bad at hiding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I mean, the National Enquirer, Weekly World News, I mean, those are entertainment. What the heck? Let them publish. They just won't be certified. But some people are going to enjoy getting their quote unquote news from that. And, so what the heck?
It's like the people that enjoy getting their news from Fox. It's not.
Yeah, exactly. Because
are we just going to end up in the same place, though? If people are just like, okay, enjoy your gay news. I'll be over at InfoWars having fun.
But also, they got sued and they had to pretty much state that they're an entertainment show. Their whole channel is entertainment. It's not news. So I feel like there needs to be disclaimers on this. They should have to say before every broadcast, we are entertainment. We are not news.
Well, that's if they're not certified, then that's basically what they will be considered. Is entertainment.
They are legally entertainment. Fox Entertainment News is legally entertainment.
It's real to me, damn it.
Well, it's like pro wrestling. Nobody goes to pro wrestling to see the art of the sport. They go because it's a show, with bad guys and good guys. And, it's actually...
They see it as news. They watch it as news. The people who watch it, they believe that to be news. Like, that's what's happening in the world today.
Exactly. That is why... It's not. No. It's not. It's coming back. It's basically emotion manipulating entertainment. I mean, that's what entertainment is in the final analysis. People go to see a movie or whatever, read a book, because entertainment is supposed to move your emotions. And that's what these channels like Fox News and others are basically entertainment, emotion manipulating entertainment. And that's fine. That's great. They just won't be certified. And so if somebody wants to listen to a non-certified entertainment channel, go ahead, but that will be recognized clearly as a non-certified news source.
Well, we're just too dumb now. We're not going to... I'll be watching Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. I don't want to watch that boring news stuff. And then I'll just be I'll be ignorant still.
Yeah, a lot of ignorance.
Well, I think, I actually believe, though, that if people are presented, if you get the emotions, the out of control emotions that are dominating our society today, the tribal, out of control emotions, and you actually present ideas to people in a fair and honest way, I think that I'm actually a little more optimistic. I think that why are we? We talk about dumb and stupid. Well, what it really comes down to is this.
Manipulable. Malleable.
What it really comes down to. What it really comes down to is the following: addictions. If you've never known anybody with an out of control addiction, it makes them stupid because the addiction becomes a priority, and people are addicted to these very negative emotions. So, if you participate on X like I do, it's like an asylum there. People are just local, and
you mean Twitter? I'm not cool.
Yeah, Twitter.
I'm too cool.
Too cool to call it X.
I'm too cool to do that.
Yeah, Twitter, X, but it's just like crazy, and people are just completely consumed with these very negative vicious emotions. And we talk about dumb and stupid. Well, if you're talking about somebody, I've known people in my family, for example, who are hopelessly addicted to alcohol, and they do dumb things because the first priority is getting their drink, or people who have drug issues or pornography or gambling issues. It just really makes you dumb. And when you're addicted to these very negative emotions too, and you seek out programs that will help you satisfy your need to feel those emotions, you're going to see the world through a very distorted lens. You're not going to be able to make very wise decisions because your information that you're getting is not with the intention of informing you. It's with the intention of manipulating you and getting those emotions stoked. And so
those people don't care whether they're certified or not. That's the thing. Like Fox News wouldn't be certified, or they would have a very low grade, I would presume, as a news organization.
They would actually not be certified. They would not be certified.
And the viewers wouldn't care one bit. They're addicted to it. They're going to keep watching it. They're like, I don't care what the liberal certification board says. This is real. That's why it needs to be explicit. You need to be like, there has to be something in between every commercial break. Like, this is entertainment. This is not, like, you got to say something to them because they don't care. You at least need to like put something in front of their face, be like, snap out of this. Like, come on.
Yeah. But the thing is that it wouldn't be liberal because this certification is saying, the thing is that we want news organizations. They might have a conservative, dignified conservative emphasis or dignified liberal emphasis. That's great. We want to have the spectrum of ideas presented freely and fairly and honestly. That's what makes our country great. And I believe that, even on a conservative leading show, you want to have real debate. Like, let's talk about Charlie Kirk. One of the things I would rather have seen with Charlie Kirk is him going around the country with a viable counterpart and actually debating, between themselves and then taking questions. Because as it was when he was alive, it's like sending a professional boxer to box 3 minutes with college kids. He had.
I'd like to see a professional boxer box Charlie Kirk.
Or
today,
or after death. It doesn't really matter.
What's that guy named Nick Fuentes? That would be good. That would be good because he say he said something weird the other day that most women want to be beaten the shit out of, and
Grape.
He said something like that, and
he says a lot of horrible things.
He also is a self-proclaimed incel, so I don't think that his opinion on women matters much.
No, I don't. But I was just saying, we're talking about a professional boxer. Well, if he, I actually I responded saying, well, actually, it's Nick Fuentes. He said that women's fantasy is to have, some guy beat the shit out of them.
Grape.
And so I said, well, it's actually Nick Fuentes' fantasy to have some guy beat the shit out of him and sexually abuse him. And so
I believe
that. Let's have
honestly believe that.
Speaking of beating the shit out of women, Tad has been itching to talk about the president. What did you do your research on? You went down a rabbit hole, and I know you're just sitting there waiting for the time to jump in.
Tad needs a Tad moment.
Yeah, let's hear it. Let's hear it.
I just went on a rabbit hole about Bubba.
Oh, Bubba.
And who
okay,
is Bubba?
Hey, we're waiting with bated breath. What happened?
Not everyone's breath is so
well.
So it's not Clinton.
Everyone assumed it was Clinton, right? Because he even said like that. That's what he wanted to be called. That was his nickname. Self-titled Bubba.
Bubba.
But now Epstein's brother has come out and said that it's not Clinton.
Not that it didn't happen, just that it's not Clinton.
Not that it didn't happen, but that it's not Bill Clinton. So there's
so the big question, the bumper stickers we're going to start seeing around these days is going to be who's Bubba? Who's Bubba?
There's a couple options out there.
There's a couple options. I think the front runner in my brain where I would like to go is Bubba the horse.
No, there's no way.
You would like to go?
That's where you want it to go.
I just think it would be hilarious if it turned out to be a horse.
Ghislaine Maxwell's horse Bubba. She had a horse named Bubba.
There's a fella named Bubba Mitchell who was a mayor or some sort of politician. And
I didn't hear about that, Bubba. I heard about a Bubba Salisbury.
Bubba Salisbury, who's a son of an oil baron, who, if it is him, if I'm getting my timeline correct, he would have been 12 or 13-year-old at the time.
Ew, what?
When it happened?
Tad's good with timelines too.
Tad is good with timelines. I hope it's not Bubba Salisbury.
Which, I mean, that fits the
mouth.
Good.
It fits the whole kind of pedophile narrative that it would be a child.
But the question I've had is, how in the world would Putin have ended up with I mean, why wouldn't Bubba be some Russian guy?
Well, it's an oil magnate, and they're all in Russia together, and
okay,
is there?
There's one of these.
I don't know. I mean, they deal in oils. And
things,
yeah,
like
energies.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, that makes sense. I mean, yeah.
Freak off. It's a whole new meaning to the word freak off.
They're just using the crude oil in their freak off parties.
Well, actually, when I was many years ago, when I was in China, before my wife at the time and I got married, we stayed at a hotel in southern China, and I found it really weird because we went back there a couple of times, and they always put us in the same room. It was like a huge hotel with like 30 stories, but we were always in the same room. And this is kind of weird. Why are we always ending up in this exact same room, like 24, 21, or whatever it was? And I always kind of suspected, well, maybe, they're kind of filming us secretly. So, if I went to Russia and I were some prominent person, boy, I would be living like a saint. Of course, we have a lot of saints who aren't saints, but, I sure wouldn't do anything that, would make an interesting video.
Yeah. None of those countries or an Airbnb.
Everything under the covers.
Oh, right. And so, I could really see that, where they might have could have some way of recording whatever goes on, inviting these very powerful people and setting, getting them some vodka and getting the inhibitions to kind of break down, and then tempting them
the kids.
Bringing the kids and get roll the video.
And I'm just saying that the Epstein's brother in the email, he didn't say, does Putin have pictures of him sucking off Bubba, blowing Bubba? He said, does he have the pictures of him blowing Bubba? As if these pictures definitely exist. Does he have the pictures?
Right.
Yeah, the pictures.
Not just any pictures. Does he have the pictures? That's what he said. Does he have the pictures? So I feels like these pictures could exist. Very, very much so.
Especially since they came out with the policy that 15-year-olds really aren't kids.
Jesus Christ, Megyn Kelly.
Yeah, that was how
that
she
was
still
Megyn
has
Kelly.
Any kind of career after that.
Disgusting.
Yeah, that's just it's pretty depraved. But the thing is that you kind of wonder, though, is it to the point where Donald Trump once said they could shoot somebody in public on Fifth Avenue and wouldn't lose any voters? I kind of wonder, could he molest a child in the open on Fifth Avenue and still not lose any voters? You kind of wonder.
He'll lose some voters.
He won't lose all, and that's the
sad part. He won't lose all of them, and that's the sad part.
I think if the child was a boy, he would lose way more.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't know, though. Gosh, it just seems that some people would, just almost put him on like a divine pedestal. It's, he could pretty much get away with anything. And of course, he could even just deny it and say it was fake news, and people would believe it. And so, gets back to why we need to have credible sources, because, a politician loves it when they can control the narrative, when they can say, dictators, for example, when we're talking about Venezuela, they just say any negative news is fake news.
It would be way more convincing if he didn't say, don't let the files out. I won't release the files, and then tried to block everyone from releasing the files. You're still talking about the files, this creep, for months and months and months, absolutely saying no, no, no. And then like, all right, fine. I have nothing to hide. Like, it's been months of trying to hide.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Well, now it's part of an investigation again, so he can't release them.
Yeah, right.
Well, and also I think it's more like the guy who wants to stop the parade, but when he finally figures out he can't stop the parade, he actually inserts himself in front of the parade and acts like the leader. So now it's like,
I don't know.
release
I
them
saw
stuff.
his parade. It was pretty lame.
And so, I think that, it's like he knows he can't stop it. So he's like trying to put himself in front of it. But I don't know if this idea of the investigation is going to really be such a hot idea, because suppose they find some incriminating evidence against, I don't know, a couple of Democrats, let's say, and then they can say, well, in our defense, we want all of the Epstein files. And then once
discovery, you needed everything.
Yeah, then once they have all the Epstein files, it'll be leak city,
And that's why you can't claim fake news, because you're trying to hide it so much. You should have just let it out to begin with and then said fake news. But all the hiding, now any claims of fake news they run hollow.
You're still giving people too much credit.
Yeah, I don't give anyone any credit. Remember, explicit disclaimers. This is entertainment. Like, they need to be dumbed down.
I don't think anything is ever going to be released. I think the whole thing goes way too deep. I think it's bigger than human trafficking. I think there's way more to it, and I think there's way too many powerful people involved that they'll just string it along. I mean, we're talking things that can probably topple entire governments.
Good. Like, these governments, if they're defending that, then they should be toppled.
Can they be, though? Can it happen?
Yeah, I mean, we're talking, some of the most powerful politicians in the world, some of the most powerful business people in the world, royal families, who knows? I mean, look at Prince Andrew, and then certainly there's some Saudi Arabian princes involved in this. Obviously,
Prince Andrew he's just
the Andrew
now.
Formerly known as Prince.
He's just Andrew. He actually got his title stripped and everything. Like, I respect them. They're actually taking action. Like, they know something happened. They know what's up. In private, they're like, no, you don't deserve a title. Like, disgusting. You can't even live in my cottage anymore, or wherever the fuck he was living.
And if you tell anyone about the rest of us that do it, we'll fucking kill you.
Yeah.
Well, it's gonna be like the musician who was once known as Prince. That's what he went by. Now it's going to be the guy who was once known as Prince.
Andrew, known as Prince Andrew.
Andrew,
Prince
the one
definitely had some questionably of age girls.
Yeah, he made Purple Rain.
Oh yeah, no, I forgive him, but
Purple Rain, dude.
Prince, no,
Rain.
Prince didn't do
Purple
anything
Rain.
bad. Prince is a saint.
Yeah, he's perfect. How dare you?
So yeah, I don't know. It's just it's like you said. I believe it was you, Tad, who said that there's so many powerful people potentially implicated in this. Is that whether we're talking Clinton, Trump, Prince Andrew, whole range of other powerful people. Yeah, it's pretty. It might exactly what you say. Maybe they'll find ways to just never let it be released because it's just too many people would.
I don't know.
They never got OJ for real. Like, they're not gonna get anyone.
Yeah, they did. OJ's estate just announced that they're going to give the whoever's that they killed $58 million or something.
But he's dead.
Yeah, but they're still getting restitution. So
he actually served time for. They got him on civil rights violation.
But not his murder, which everyone knows he was murdering people.
Yeah, didn't they get him like robbing some of his own memorabilia out of
he got off, and then he wrote a book that was just like, if I did do it, here's exactly how I did it. And everyone was like, come on, man.
Yeah, that's the case where they framed a guilty guy and it completely backfired on him. And it was really pretty disgusting.
So no, Ted's probably right. Nothing's going to happen. Nothing ever happens.
I don't know. I feel good about it. I think something's going to happen eventually.
Is it going to happen to the right people, though?
Yeah. I don't know. Hopefully.
They might. I heard a great quote today that said, you can burn the puppet, but you can't burn the hand. So, are they just going to put people out and say, like, they're guilty, they're guilty, they're guilty? But
such a bullshit saying. 100% would still burn your hand.
The top's still the top.
Like, were you in Eastern Europe today? Like, what do you, like, where did you hear this saying?
Don't worry about where I was.
We have old saying.
Puppet burn you.
So yeah, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see where it goes. But my biggest fear is that, or I would say my biggest fear, but one of the things
What's your biggest fear?
one of my fears here is that because as getting back to the sorry state of our journalism is that when there's no common set of facts, and politicians can take advantage to control the narrative, which is what every politician wants. And as long as we don't have robust journalism, we're going to have some politicians who are going to say, well, any negative news about me is fake news, and they're going to be people who believe it.
I would like to counter with saying that while journalism is important and it absolutely needs to be proper, and people need to understand what is good journalism and bad journalism and listen to what's good, and be generally better educated about everything that's going on around them. I think that the root of the issue, or at least a big part of it, is that there's a lot of special interest groups and lobbyists that are paying off the politicians, and
well, exactly,
they will do that counter to their constituents' wants and needs. Like, I feel like constituents can be like, I need this, I need healthcare, I need education, I need child care services. Like, they can say what they need in real life because they're people and they're living their lives, and they obviously have needs that they can convey to their politicians, whether they're tuned into the political landscape or not. But what the politicians do is up to the politician, and a lot of times they're influenced by special interest groups more so than their constituents. So I think there needs to be campaign finance laws and laws around those groups influencing them with money.
Yeah. Okay, but the thing is that the relationship between politicians and special interests is exactly like the relationship between a drug addict and a drug dealer. The special interests help keep the politician in power, which is what the power addicted politician wants. And in return, the politician helps the special interests. Our politicians work for the special interests that help keep them in power. It's this symbiotic relationship. I used to work on a cattle ranch, and you get a cow in heat, and you get all the bulls would come and want to be with the cow. This is exactly, and anybody with power is like a cow in heat. They're going to bring all the special interest bulls are going to want to mount that cow. It's going to be much harder, though, for the special interests to influence politicians long term if you're getting politicians changing every election cycle. And not only that, once a politician who has only one term to serve, there is no reelection. So they can't, the special interests can't come and say, we'll help you get reelected by financing your campaign, by spreading misinformation, by stoking the culture wars, because reelection is not an option. So their ability
they could
to
go for another office. They can say, I will fund your campaign for Senate, or you can come and work for us as a consultant. And I don't know, there's other ways that they can still influence them, in my opinion.
Yeah, you're exactly right. But there will be a 2-year waiting period, according to the proposal we have, before you can run for another office. Okay. So
but what
that's
about when a
one.
place runs out of good politicians? Like, what are the
I don't think that's going to happen.
Glasgow, Montana, supposed to do? Like, when out of how many people live there? 13 people. They're like, well, we should get Paul back because he was the only one that understood what to do. And they're like, well, he can't. He already did it.
It's a fair point. Like, does anyone even live in Montana?
I think we want, though, to have our elected representatives be much more representative cross-section of our society. We want to have the school teacher from Montana. We want to have the truck driver from Alabama. We want to have the doctor from Massachusetts. We want to have the business owner from Nevada. We don't want to have a rich lawyers club. We want to have a elected body that actually represents a good cross-section, and they're going to bring different points of view. Because that's really how things progress. If you've ever lived in a country where only one point of view is allowed,
then you have to really strip some of the power away. Because if you're getting representatives from this podcast, and Robbbie goes first, and everyone's like, "Oh, great job," and then Tad goes, and they're like, "Oh, great job," and then they're like, "Shit, Dingo's the only one left."
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I feel like you're going to get a lot of moms from PTA, president moms, that are going to be like, I have nothing better to do. I'm just going to run for office now.
yeah,
because
they just
it's my
have like
turn.
a lot of friends and they get voted in and they're like, okay, what do I do now?
Yeah, well, I think that's what we actually want to make it easier for a variety of people to run. And I think, though, what again, politics should never be about people or personalities. Politics should be about ideas and vision. And so you're voting for people who have the best ideas and the best vision. And once they're out of office, once they're up, okay, you like their ideas, then vote for somebody who promises to not only continue those ideas, but even improve upon them. Because we don't, you never should ever put anybody, any politician on a pedestal. Any politician who says, I'm the only one who can solve this is like the guy at the bar, the singles bar, who says, I'm the only guy who can make you happy. It's just simply not true. You want our politics to be idea focused, not personality focused. And we don't want these sort of celebrity career politicians anymore. We want people who are focused on the ideas, focused on the vision, going to do their best during the time they've been allocated, and then they move on. You're not going to go back to that office. So, concentrate on doing the best job you have. And by the way, a democracy involves compromise. You present your ideas, but in the final analysis, you're going to hear a different, we get into discussions about the different ideas, and that's great. But in the final analysis, you can't have a our way or the highway attitude. What I think what is really key here is that people have always, disagreed, and they always will disagree. And in the old days, how did they handle the disagreements? Well, they sharpened the swords, they sharpened the spears, and they went at it. And the vast band of brawlers won.
So we should bring duels back.
Yeah.
Look, we could disagree all you want, but when it's my turn to be in charge, I'm putting up a statue of myself. It is what it is. You guys just deal with it.
Well, that'd be great. We'll have statues for each new politician, and we'll have the land of the statues, Statue National Park, where you can tour and see the statue.
You could take the exam you were proposing and win a ticket there. You can go see the statues.
I mean, I do like the idea of a single term, and back to what Robbbie was saying, these young politicians, how are they going to get things done? Because they're focused on the job instead of re-election.
Re-election, exactly.
As long as you give their term a little bit of a longer term, to give them some time to get.
Yeah, that's why I say like Senate 6 years. That seems pretty good. Representative should be minimum 3 years. President maybe 5 years. But the other thing is that there's a first term politician can actually be very effective, and in fact, I think there are probably lots of cases where their first term was actually their most effective. This idea that they can't be effective or they can't, we say we don't like career politicians, but then this idea, well, we got to have career politicians because they're only ones who know how to do. Well, no, what our politicians are experienced at is being politicians. And what does that mean? They're experienced at raising funds. They're experienced at, not answering questions. How many politicians actually answer questions anymore? If they're asked a tough question, they have a completely different answer. They're experienced at, catering to special interests. That's what our politicians are experienced at these days. Playing these partisan games. And the other thing that I propose is that we put a limit on political parties of, say, 12 years. After 12 years, a government-recognized political party has to be disbanded, because what happens to political parties, just like George Washington warned about them, they become tribalized. They become institutionalized, where the priority of the party becomes priority number one. And this is why our judiciary, for example, is in such bad shape, because nobody believes our judiciary anymore. They just think that, well, this judge is an extension of the Democratic Party, this is an extension of the Republican Party, and we don't want our judges to be thought of as just simply partisan extensions. But unfortunately, our political parties, they want the judges to just be extensions of their own party. And that's why we don't trust it. You hear a decision now. It's like the first question. Well, was that a Trump judge? Was that a Bush judge? Was that a Clinton judge? And it shouldn't be that way. Or you look at our Supreme Court.
I think the parties should get jerseys and everyone should have a number, and let's really lean into it.
And
I think there should be no parties, and they should be running on policy. And,
yeah, I'm more with that.
Take the title off of it completely, and that way there is no tribe, there is no my way or your way.
Yeah, actually, George Washington
just warned
against political party. But the thing is that
I like that guy. He has a good idea. I'm going to vote for him.
I'm going to buy his jersey too.
I'm going to buy his jersey.
I completely agree, except that I will say, though, that you could potentially try to get the idea of having parties with limited lifetimes is you want to try to get the best of both worlds. A political party that allows people of like ideas to organize and present candidates accordingly, but won't be around long enough to become, completely, a tribalized, where you've got people using that political party for their own personal benefit, trying to advance their own greed, whether it's for power or for money. And so that's why you put a limit. Then you can try to get the best of both worlds. But when like your suggestion, let's just get rid of political parties. That's exactly what George Washington would have said, and that's a great idea. I just try to get like a hybrid system where you get, sort of the advantages of political party, which, like I say, allows people of similar ideas to organize, present candidates accordingly. But you don't let them stay around long enough where they become this mindless tribal. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, look at our presidential elections. Why is it that our presidential elections are now determined by a few purple counties in a few purple states? Why is it that 3 counties outside of Milwaukee or 3 counties outside of Phoenix matter more than all of California or more than all of Texas? It's absolutely
all or nothing voting. It needs to be.
It's insanity.
Ranked choice voting.
I like ranked choice,
but it's not. Yeah, that's exactly right. That would be a big step. But our presidential candidates, for example, or our Senate candidates or representative candidates, they should be fighting for every vote in every corner where they're going to have jurisdiction. So the president candidate should be, Democratic candidate should be fighting for votes in rural Texas. And the Republican one should be fighting for votes in downtown LA. Yeah, Instead, we have it. Okay.
The Electoral College is absolutely broken. It needs to be. We don't have enough time to go into all that. It's the whole system of how everything works in elections just makes no sense in today's day and age.
Yeah, I guess my point is that the tribalism actually benefits the parties because they have huge groups of just automatic voters who are just going to vote one party or the other regardless. And that means they just have to scrap over that ever smaller 3 or 4% of undecided. And so this tribalism actually is very beneficial to both parties, which is one of the reasons why we've got to, get rid of the tribalism. And the way we get rid of the tribalism is that you make political parties either get rid of them entirely, like you suggested, or you put time limits.
Suggested.
Exactly, he did.
Just mad your team keeps losing. Whatever.
Evan, I'm sorry, I gotta cut this off because we're a little bit over time at this point. But this has been awesome.
Okay.
This has been a great discussion. I absolutely appreciate you coming on and talking about the Solutions Party. I think you got some good solutions here.
What do you need from people?
Well, what I need to do. Well, first of all, if you go to the website and just send an email and say you're interested in maybe in joining. And joining just means that we're going to try to build this thing from the ground up. I just registered as a nonprofit in Oregon. I'm going to try to raise some money to get the party actually officially registered. But again, actually, it doesn't have to be an official political party. If you vote for somebody who promises to just serve one term, it's not going to seek re-election, that is a big start.
Just like Joe Biden did.
Yeah. Well, no, Joe Biden. Yeah, that's don't get me started on that. I mean, my God.
My bad.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. Finish your plug.
Well, that's the thing, though. He drank the Kool-Aid, and the rest is history. And
yeah, he drank the Kool-Aid. We got Jonestown. What happened there?
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, I don't want to digress. Hey, this has been great. Maybe we can do it again sometime soon. And I got a lot more jokes, by the way, and we can go on those. And then I did send you guys that music video. The I is the liberal elite. It's satire. It's meant to be fun.
We'll post it around.
Please give me your feedback on that. So, yeah, but I've really enjoyed this, and like I say, I hope we can do it again sometime soon.
Absolutely. We'd love to have you on and be able to promote your cause. And hopefully we get some people to join the Solutions Party, and hopefully
a web designer.
We can update this website. I'll have my people talk to your people. We'll get a little more going.
That's great. Sure. Yeah, that's perfect. That'd be wonderful. I'm open to all ideas.
You got to make it pop. You got to have a hook, get people wanting to come in here.
Yeah. Like Fox News will get you.
I agree.
You got to get the youth vote. You got an Instagram. What's your Snapchat?
Do you have a backwards hat you can wear?
That could work.
No, but I do rock and roll. I do have some real good music videos. So
all right, we can start there.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'll send you guys the links. If you look up Joe Mariachi versus the Aliens, that's my latest one. Joe Mariachi versus the Aliens. It's about a Mexican mariachi who gets wrapped in the middle of an alien attack. So Joe Mariachi versus the Aliens.
Okay, he's legal.
Oh man. All right. Evan, thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate you coming on. Everyone that's listening, solutionsparty.org, join the cause. We have answers here. We got solutions and answers, and
also our stuff too.
And our stuff too. We have a website. Our website, probably.
Most of you people listening aren't subscribed, so do that.
Yeah. Also smash that subscribe button and
I will subscribe.
I said it. Smash it. Smash it.
I will subscribe.
All right, lightly tap it. I appreciate that. All right. Thanks so much. Everyone enjoys this song that we made for you or something.
Thanks again, guys. I've really enjoyed it.
Thanks.
Thanks, Evan.
Yeah, thanks, Evan.
Thank you.
It's fun.
Thank you. For me too. Thanks.
I'm on my knees. I'm on my knees. I'm on my knees. I'm on my knees. Yeah. Don Lewinsky back in the chat. Back on my grind. Back on my knees. I'm gonna get mine. That's fine. You thought microphone stands was the only thing I'm gagging on. Follow along, showing off my technique. Yeah, that grip is strong. Hit the back of my throat just like a gong. Confidentially, Bubba's got it going on. Enough for me to write that shit down in a song. That Magnum Dong. Can't stop thinking about my big, beautiful bill. My big, beautiful bill. Running through my mind is big, beautiful bill. That big, beautiful bill. Oh my God, I love it. I'm on my knee. Did everybody hear the news? The president got sucked off by a dude. Now I know just what the people wanna say. No man can blow me cause that shit will be so gay. Can you imagine what it would be like though? To be the one to perform fellatio, that's not something a lot of guys would notice. See the face of Clinton while he blows. Can't stop thinking about my big, beautiful bill. My big, beautiful bill. Running through my mind is big, beautiful bill. That big, beautiful bill. Oh my God, I love him. I mean it, not him, what the fuck? Did you ever think I'd be here saying it's okay, let's all be gay? Do it the alpha way. The only reason you got emails cause I wanted to. Cause now it's cool to slide into on that tour. Can't stop thinking about my big, beautiful bill. My big, beautiful bill. Running through my mind is big, beautiful bill. That big, beautiful bill. Oh my God, I love him. I'm on my knee. Oh my God, I'm on my knee. Oh my God, I miss it. I'm on my knee. Oh my God, I'm on my knee. Oh my God, I miss it. I'm on my knee. Now watch me dance like I'm jerking off two guys. I'm on my knee. Watch my dance like I'm jerking off two guys. I'm on my knee. Now watch my dance like I'm jerking off two guys. I'm on my knee. And I pick Vans cause he got them pretty little eyes. Whoop! Can't stop thinking about my big, beautiful bill. My big, beautiful bill. Running through my mind. This big, beautiful bill. That big, beautiful bill. Oh my God, I love it. I'm on my knees. Now lean back. Make America gay again. I'm on my knees. Yeah, lean back. Make America gay again. I'm on my knees. Just lean back. Make America gay again. I'm on my knees. Yeah, lean back. Make America gay again.